elect. I know I'm a little ahead of myself. President-elect Joe Biden got the flu shot today, got the COVID-19 vaccination. I still got it in my head. Flu shot, no, much more important than just that. But also, my good friend Keith Pochek got it today. My good friend Dr. Keith Pochek. And I've asked Keith to come share what the experience was like and from his expert opinion, why we get the shot and what to expect. Keith, thanks for taking time for us.
You bet, Rick. Thanks for having me on.
So walk me through. You obviously a first responder, one of the first people in line to get the shot, as everyone agrees you absolutely should be. You're one of the frontline heroes, keeping people safe, taking care of them when they're sick. Walk me through the process.
Yeah, for us, I work in a big healthcare system here in North Carolina, and it was very well run. We knew what needs to be accomplished in phase 1A, and that's what we're working on from now until the end of the year, and that's to get our teams on the front lines, from physicians to nurse practitioners to physician assistants to nurses and medical assistants, all the way down to the environmental services folks. They're also high risk, and so those are the people who were put into phase 1A, which is fortunately where I fell. It essentially got done mostly through email and electronically, to register with both the state and my health system, and then schedule a slot to go and show up at one of three different hospitals where the vaccine was being administered. Right now, we just have the Pfizer vaccine, so it's a little more tenuous as far as its storage requirements and its life outside of that deep freezer. So they have gone with the strategy of we're gonna keep it and administer it at the hospitals for our frontline workers, and whether that's inpatient hospital workers or outpatient folks like me, we were going to report there to get the vaccine. So we all kind of lined up in a socially distant way after scheduling our appointment, and we were in the basement, the bowels of the hospital, and stickers on the floor 6 feet apart while we waited to get our vaccine administered. But it was done in a appointment only fashion, and there were 10 to 12 nurses who were there at separate stations to administer vaccines, and folks there to get everyone registered and ask the safety questions prior to administering the vaccines. I actually went with my wife and saw also three more of our urgent care team members there in line today while I was there, and it went really smoothly. No fuss, no people falling out, no adverse reactions at all when I was there.
So that's good to hear. And look, the quicker we get you guys vaccinated, the quicker we get you guys protected, then we can move to the next phase and so on down the line. But here I'm someone who's not been a huge flu shot person. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any stretch of the imagination. All of our kids got their shots, all of that stuff. It's just that one time I got a flu shot about 10 years ago, I was sick the entire year. So
Right.
What's going to come out of this. You're going to get people like me who are going to go, Keith, I got it. And, I got it. And you gave it to me.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's obviously one of the things. We're certainly going to hear, stories and misinformation that go exactly down that path, because this is a 2-dose, at this point anyway, this is a 2-dose regimen, whether we get the Pfizer or whether we get the Moderna vaccine, a 2-dose regimen that's split by 3 to 4 weeks. And then even after that second dose, it's probably going to take another 10 or 14 days before full immunity is conferred. At that point, though, the studies have shown that the completion of the series and add 10 to 14 days after that the efficacy of the vaccine is at 95%. So that's incredible. And that's one point that I would push back on as far as someone who uses the flu vaccine as an example. The flu vaccine in some years is 30% protective. they're making a guess as to what strains are going to be circulating. They're using antigens to create the vaccine instead of using messenger RNA like the COVID vaccine. And I think that the science behind this, my geek brain obviously is fascinated by it, but the science behind it, leads me to firmly believe that yes, the efficacy is going to be much greater than your typical seasonal flu vaccine, and that's one of the reasons why I think our healthcare workers today. This was probably the first day of a huge initiative by our health system to vaccinate our frontline workers, and it was just welcomed and celebrated by our medical staff and by our support staff and those folks who are working in the hospital itself and in high risk spots. So those people were lined up and were very excited to go ahead and move into hopefully a different and new phase of this pandemic where we have a little bit of hope. And the weird thing I was saying today, and I posted I think on Twitter, is that here we are on the darkest day of one of the darkest years that any of us can remember, and finally here's a ray of hope. And I really think that this is going to change the game. It may take until May, it may take until June before we really start to see significantly falling COVID incidents. But I think obviously vaccinating the folks on the front line who can provide the care to the folks who are getting sick is going to protect not just us as healthcare workers, but also save the lives of people who do get sick in the coming months.
No, it's that important. Now, just so we're clear, like the scenario that I brought up, saying that, hey, I got this shot 10 years ago. I was sick the whole year. So the shot gave it to me. We know in the coming weeks, before the second dose is available, that some people are probably going to be infected. And the claim is going to be that the shot gave them COVID-19. Is that
Definitely
possible?
It's not. No. So what this vaccine is it's a strand of, and I don't want to get too deeply scientific here, but it's basically a synthetically made strand of RNA, ribonucleic acid, that will compel the ribosomes of our own cells to produce a spike protein that the virus produces. And that's the only thing it's going to compel our cells to do. Okay. It's not going to create live intact virus. It can't. It also cannot get into our DNA, as some people would suggest. This RNA is somehow going to migrate into our DNA, and we're going to have mutations and whatnot. And some of us would like to turn into X-Men, I guess, but that's not scientifically. That's not going to happen with this. Viral RNA cannot be converted into human DNA. So basically, this viral RNA enters the cell after the vaccine, does not go into the nucleus of the cell where our own DNA lives, and instead it just basically finds out our own cellular protein factories, our ribosomes, turns that viral RNA into a spike protein that then can go get presented onto the surface of that cell. And that's what triggers the immunogenicity of the vaccine. So now our immune system is just supercharged to recognize that spike protein. And the next time the virus itself were to enter our respiratory tract, it's raring to go to just take it down quickly.
Good. Now you got obviously the Pfizer, which you got the first dose today. You've got to wait how long before the second dose?
21 for the Pfizer. It can be extended a little bit past that without a lot of worry. But they won't vaccinate you with the second dose until it's been 21 days.
Okay.
They want to, I don't know. I mean, the scientists obviously have studied this. There needs to be a little bit of a lull between the two doses so that we get the full immunogenicity of the vaccine.
Right. So how are you feeling now? Because some of the early reports were that people were feeling nauseous, people were feeling sick. The shot site was hurting. What are you feeling?
I feel great. I got the vaccine at my wife and I both got it at the same time around 10:30 this morning, and have had a normal day. Worked. Just finished a 20-mile bike ride. Feel like nothing happened.
Excellent, excellent. Now, if you're if when it's our turn, and that's going to be down the road, are you saying the Pfizer, the Moderna? Which vaccine are you telling people that they should be looking for, or does it not matter?
I from what I've read, I really think they're pretty equivalent. I think that Moderna is going to have some advantages in difficult to reach patients and difficult to reach communities because the storage requirements aren't as intense. So I think that the vaccine, at least the states are going to plan that in a way such that maybe rural areas are going to receive a higher amount of the Moderna product versus the Pfizer, because the Pfizer does require like a super cold, deep freezer. And that's why our health system was basically they were going to administer it where it's being stored. It's a little bit more, intense there. And so you don't want the vaccine obviously to go bad and not be able to be administered because it was outside of, its temperature range and it fell apart.
No, I'm looking forward to people being able to be vaccinated, to move beyond this. Summertime, maybe life gets back to somewhat near normal. I hope over the next couple of days, can we check back in with you and see how you're feeling and how you're progressing through this?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, all the way through, second vaccine, and I think 10 to 14 days apparently after I received the second vaccine, that's when I should have. At least according to the science, that's when, and studies, that's when I should have, that 95% protection rate that both companies are touting. Which sure, absolutely, I'm happy to talk with you about it. I think that by and large, the public just needs to be reassured that this is safe. This is not a tracking chip. This is not Bill Gates' way to control your brain. And they're just the conspiracy theories, obviously, in the age of misinformation where we are right now, when you have a brand new product like this, are just going to spiral out of control. And I think that, the public just needs to understand. And I think it's great to see examples like President-elect Biden getting the vaccine. And, to a degree, I am infuriated that some of the folks who downplayed the significance of the virus itself, the Republican members of Congress, are jumping the line and getting vaccines, but ahead of people who should be getting it. But the other side of that coin is that at least it's setting an example that they clearly believe it's safe and indicated, and they want to get it to protect themselves. And so if that helps vaccinate red state America to a higher level, then great.
No, I got to tell you, I think it was Lindsey Graham who was one of the people who you're talking about. I think I saw a story with him in it, and I'm going, explain to me why he gets it when one of the people who show up to our hospitals has to wait another day or another hour. I'm sorry, I'm not there. But as I said, I hope everyone takes your advice, because look, I look to people that I know and people that I trust. You're someone that I know and someone I trust highly. I hope people will take your advice, and when their turn comes, make sure that they're vaccinated. But Keith, I appreciate the time, and we will check in with you again tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks.
Thanks so much, our good friend Dr. Keith Pochek. Absolutely. And when it's your turn, make sure that you do get vaccinated. Thanks so much. Back to our regularly scheduled vacation break. Thanks so much for being here. Stop it.